representing Ukraine, Oksana Pashkova.
In the finals of these World Championships. And for Dinescu, is it always the bridesmaid, or will she finally become the bride tonight, Dean?
She's certainly walked the aisle into the cage here at the IMMAF in Bahrain. Live, bismillah to everybody watching at home in Bahrain TV. But we're seeing Pashkova now work the handiwork, Malcolm. And again, look, this is Dinescu, exactly what she needed to do. Close the distance, work the clinch. Use the cage as her friend to get this fight to the ground.
Well, this is what we saw with Pashkova. She was tall at the weight. She's tall in a semi-final. And as you said, Dinescu closed that gap very quickly after that punch exchange.
Dinescu working the forward pressure now. You can see her legs driving forward, the head underneath the chin of Pashkova. She wants to be able to drop low to get down to the legs and below the hips to initiate the takedown.
He's being warned, I think, about hands on the cage wire there, Dinescu. And as we said, we saw her at the Europeans in Romania, and she's a real terrier-style fighter, isn't she? She keeps the pressure on you constantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stylistically, it's a bit of a nightmare for Pashkova, particularly if she gets stuck in this position. She needs to start thinking about working the underhook, circle off the cage. And in the interim, so when she breaks, I want her to strike so she can get that distance away and reset.
And you can see that Dinescu pushing this pressure, keeping her back to that cage wire. And now just beginning to drop her weight, Pashkova. But we know, and the referee bringing them back to the center of the cage, but we know that Dinescu will get straight into her again.
Yeah, Pashkova did a good job of working the underhooks, keeping her base underneath her to force that separation there. I mean, Dinescu was working, but she's got to do a lot more. She's got to change the level and start to threaten the takedown. She's got to keep her hands up in these exchanges though, Malcolm, because Pashkova's got some dangerous power.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen earlier that Dinescu, to her credit, is willing to take shots to get where she needs to be, but that might be a dangerous, dangerous tactic in this final.
Yes, Russian roulette, especially in the final. You know, this is for the gold here, the World Championships, and Dinescu has got to keep those hands up, stay safe, get the fight to the ground where she wants it.
Now, we see the way she forces Pashkova back, and I said she'll take shots to do it. When would you like to see the level change possibly be from Dinescu?
Well, at this present time, you can see the underhook, the left arm of Pashkova. She's got that underneath the right arm of Dinescu. That's serving to keep her elevated. She needs to go inside, so she needs to pummel her right arm on the inside of the left arm of Pashkova to get double underhooks. Then she'll have more control over the body, and indeed she can drop down, take a leg.
Yes, Pashkova looking to break free and throw that straight right hand back to the center of the cage. Very composed still, the Ukrainian fighter. And back in the center where those long limbs can really pay for her here. And Dinescu, she bites on that gum shield and she pushes forward, Dean, in the last 10 seconds.
I mean, you can argue here that Dinescu is the one that took center stage. She's the one pressuring the action towards the cage. There's some nice strikes from Pashkova, but I mean, for me, Dinescu has shut her down.
Silver medals. And for Dinescu, as I said, a long-serving servant of this amateur tournament. Gold is so close.
Pashkova now did a better job of targeting those hands straight down the pipe, landing straight on the chin, and she moves off beautifully. If she can work these sprawl and brawl tactics, she's going to have some success here, Malcolm.
Well, that's what I like. As you said, what she's added to this second round is the movement. Now, for the first time, rather than push her back to the cage, we saw there Dinescu just hint at that level change to go for that single leg.
And you can clearly see there the arms inhibiting the takedown, the overhook, which is we call the whizzer, and then the underhook with the left arm of Pashkova. She's did a great job of hiking the opponent up, stopping the level change going down low towards the legs and the hips, and that really stopped the takedown there in that exchange.
Yes, and Dinescu felt the power and the accuracy of Pashkova, who is a real threat when they're in the center of that cage there. And as Dean alluded to, very tough to take to ground in this opening round and a half for Raluca Dinescu from Romania. A lot of head pressure from Dinescu, but still Pashkova remains calm and strong upright.
Dinescu now trying to work the legs. She's trying to circle the legs on the inside of her counterparts to kind of reap them away from the cage and turn in that direction. Again, but she's going to have more control if she can funnel for the underhook. Currently she's only got one. She needs two for optimum control.
Yes, and Pashkova negating the strengths of Dinescu here as she looks for that single leg once more. And as she was doing that, Pashkova just calmly looked over to her corner first and then started to prevent that once more. But I'd like to have seen more from her with those early seconds where she struck and moved off that line, struck and moved off that line. She was accurate and hurtful, but again, Dinescu closes that gap and then is like a terrier in the way she pursues her opponent.
Dinescu frantically trying to change these levels. Work for the single leg briefly there. She might drop down to clasp that leg and then try and work the ankle pick on the left leg of Pashkova. But again, with that whizzer, it's very difficult to change levels. She's doing a good job here, head inside. Look, she's going to reach down with her right arm now and try and clasp the ankle. And that's why you see Pashkova scoop that arm back up.
Yeah, starts hand fighting with her. Good work from Pashkova defensively here. And we're coming into that last 30 seconds of a second round that, like the first, is fought almost exclusively against the cage wire here. And the referee again will take them back to the center, which we feel will suit Pashkova. Bouncing light on her toes. And there's the last 10 seconds. I feel of the two, although Dinescu knows what she's doing boxing, the stronger striker for me is Pashkova when she gets the opportunity, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, Pashkova again, sprawl and ball tactics, but you've got three.
So round 3, and again, Dinescu, the same look, the same intensity, the same desire to get inside, but this time early towards the center, but no, forces the back straight to the cage wire again. I thought she hinted at a level change, but then carried on pushing, Dean.
Yeah, it was that stimulus from the kick. As soon as she saw the leg kind of fracture light, she went straight in there and worked for the takedown. And that's a smart play on her counterpart. You know, she's trying to work the combinations, trying to be kind of elusive and strike really well. But, I mean, Dinescu doing a great job of using that stimuli to go in and close the distance. But she's got to work here. She's got to work for the underhooks, Malcolm. She's got to change levels to try and grasp the legs and the hips to gain the takedown. She can't afford to let Pashkova keep these underhooks and hike her up.
And Pashkova is very good defensively. She uses those long limbs well. She gets that strong base as well, doesn't she? And as you said, with the underhooks, the base, it's been very difficult for Dinescu to get to where she wants to be. So then she has to rely on the judges seeing the aggression as being enough. And again, earlier in this round, just under 2 minutes left, back to the center of the cage. And this is where I think Pashkova really needs to capitalize on these opportunities where they're brought back into the center. But she does a good job, doesn't she, Dinescu? She almost like hypnotizes you. Suddenly she's there, and then she's inside those long limbs, and your back is against the cage wire once more. Yeah,
Pashkova, for me, is not pulling the trigger fully. You know, she's almost keeping the safety on, it seems to me. And that allows Dinescu to not really be too scared about what she's going to get hit with coming in. So this is why we see her pressure, use the cage again, work these foot stomps and short knees, close range, and work for the takedown.
Yes, head pressure from Dinescu, but will it be enough? We're coming to the final minute of this bout, and Dinescu, as we said, pedigree here, 2 European silvers, a world bronze. So she's already going to better that. Whatever happens, she's got a minimum of a world silver. But as we said, with the longevity of her career, she would love to cap this with that gold. But again, Pashkova is so determined in defense, and again, the referee brings him to the center. And this is where I'd like to see Pashkova really commit to those shots to sting Dinescu and keep her at range there. But instead, Dinescu ties up so quickly. Look for the trip there, it didn't happen.
Pashkova sticking to the straight punches, and that's all well and good if you can land, but if you overextend and your balance is off and the level change comes, it's very difficult to regain that. She did a good job of sprawling in that instance, but I like to see her work the uppercut because it deters your opponent from changing levels and coming in, especially if you land it. You can couple up with the left hook and then finish with the right hand if you've got them hurt.
And we're into the last 15 seconds of a delicate one for the judges here. Where you see them now is where we've spent most of this 3 rounds, and then that last 10 seconds, they really step it up a gear because both young ladies probably in the back of their heads thinking, I've got a good shout on this one. Now, for me, I agree with you. Pashkova, for me, too defensive, too much on that.
The red corner from Romania.
Look what it means to her.